If you do not want to change, if you do not want to better yourself, if you do not want to break outside of this matrix, if you want to live in your comfortable delusion that they have built for you, do not watch this video. Leave this channel.
Because when I step to the game, I rip that shit
do
apart.
not
My
want any truth, don't want to understand, if you are not here
to
hear something that's outside of your own mind and accept others' minds and opinions and the way they think for themselves, you do not belong.
I'm trying as hard as I can against all of the odds, pushing as hard as I could is what got me so far.
If you are not trying to help create solutions while we discuss the problems and how they got here,
Never my senses heightened
you
in my
do not
weed up
belong
in
here.
the jar.
Negativity, hate, disrespect, name calling, those things will not be allowed here on this platform.
I'ma catch you
And
off
not
guard
in this
while you
empire.
chillin' in the crib. Got
We
your chick in
are
my car.
the
Every
ones,
time
the
you
true
hear it
Americans
trippin' like that shit sounds
that
bizarre.
want to
Your favorite rapper
be
tried
free
hard, still
and
isn't marked.
stand
Still
as we have
like
always
fuel to
stood.
the game, watch it spark. My lines burn like blunts getting smoked in the dark. Hella cooking shit up if your ass wanna spar. Barbecue your beef up like seats in my car. Cool yourself off refrigerator and jar. Baby rappers been acting like this is not an art. It's not an art. Huh, you forgot about that part. Lady rappers been acting like this is not an art. Huh, you forgot about that part. Yo, we in the building. My bad. You know, we had to we had to get a few things started here. Shout out to everybody that went to work today. You are appreciated. Shout out to everybody that had overtime. You're doing the dirty work nobody else wants to do. You are appreciated. And shout out to my bad. I was looking at this other shit over here, trying to get ready for today. All right, this was a pretty heavy episode title. A lot of people are probably wondering who the fuck, right? What the fuck? Okay. And we're gonna explain that here right now. But I just wanted to give those shout outs to everybody that's been putting in work. You are appreciated, okay? And you make the world go round. Now, a lot of people are struggling in the world right now. They feel like they don't have the opportunity. Okay, my bad. Lost my train of thought for a second. I was over here absorbed in something else. Just trying to make sure I have all the information available here, so when we go over this, it's not like I'm trying to sit here and you know, tax the poor. I'm not trying to tax the poor by any rate. I'm actually trying to make sure we can benefit our society as a net positive by doing good business. And I am gonna call this the good business proposition, okay? But right now, for learning purposes and for getting the point across, we're gonna call it the Stewardship and Minimum Wage Act. We're gonna call it that, okay? Though that way you can understand like what the whole point of this is, okay? A lot of people don't know the point, okay? The point is that it's not the corporations that are horrible. The corporations are doing what they're supposed to do. They've given us jobs, they're paying people, blah, 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 but they're not playing fair. Me, I just want to bring the corporations to the table, and I want to reward good stewardship, okay? And if you have bad stewardship, then, I mean, your company shouldn't be able to have access to our capital markets, because us as the people of the United States, we are the consumer that the whole entire world is trying to get to buy their product. Okay, if you are an American citizen, you are the consumer. Okay, you are the customer. And what is the customer? The customer's always motherfucking right. Okay? So here in America, us Americans, us everyday folk that are down here on the ground living this shit in the trenches, we're right. Okay? If you're up in some sort of protected status and you haven't lived among the real people in a year, because if you're removed from something for a year, it starts to become a habit. Whatever you're getting used to, you got used to it. So if you haven't lived amongst the people within a year or your term of service, if you're in office, you haven't, okay, whatever the term is, 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, whatever it is, okay? If you haven't lived amongst the people in at least that amount of time, you have no business either staying in office or being in office because you have lost your credibility as being one of us, okay? When I say one of us, you're down here in the trenches, you're blood, sweat, and tears, feet to the pavement, getting, by your bootstraps, shit like that, okay? That's the people here. If you're watching on Rumble, I can't see any of your comments or anything like that, so I do apologize. I can only see comments right now from YouTube for some reason. I'm using the StreamYard, so you know how it is with them. What I will say is I do appreciate all you guys for coming through. Anybody that did come through, you are appreciated. Guess what? We're getting to the bottom of this shit. What they don't understand is what stewardship is, okay? They don't understand what good business is, okay? Fine, capitalism, awesome, yay, but if you're not gonna do good business, then that's not necessarily capitalism. That's just robbery. That's just extortion. That's just all these other negative words you could put there. Believe me, there's a lot of negative words you could put there. Okay? Let's keep it a buck. We'll bring it back to some reality. Okay? Grok is lame right now. I'm thinking about getting that perplexity. Thinking about getting the perplexity upgrade. It's like $20 a month, which is cool. And perplexity is actually pretty fucking good. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it definitely, it's more of a text if you don't have the upgrade, but you have to do the text. And it really turned my brain where it's like, oh shit, I have to read this. I can't just listen to somebody talk. I'm used to listening and understanding the logic and the emotion behind what they're saying and the point that's deeper than what they're actually saying on top. So there's a lot when you're listening that you can do to try to harmonize with whatever they're saying, so you can either help them have a solution to that problem or help them figure out what the root cause is, whatever the objective is in that moment. Now, we go back over to, like I said, the perplexity is so cool because I was able to write my document or writing the things I wanted to write down. I plugged it in to Perplexity. It spit some shit back to me. I had to read the shit. Through that, I gained some understanding. I highlighted some of the words that I liked, and then I started memorizing those words and using those words in my documentation as I was going through. And then every time a point came up, what I would do, a good point that Perplexity would make, what I would do is I would copy it, right? And then I would paste it in my document. And then what I would do is I would take away all the bullshit that's not supposed to be in there. And I would make sure the framing, because sometimes they have the one sentence or two sentences that have that legal terminology. And I like to grab that legal terminology a lot. So like me, I'll like piece together my essay by giving it what I want to say and having it reworded, but it has to make sure. And I'll hear it and I'll be like, wait a minute, I don't like that, but I'm really trying to say this. I'm emphasizing on it. So then we'll add or take away certain words. So I have to redo the sentences like 4 or 5 times, but that's why that's why they want you to pay for it. Because the thing is, like, when you brainstorm with somebody and you're writing things down, you're gonna have to delete, redo, blah 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 all the time, copy, paste, whatever. So we do that regularly. So naturally, doing it with a AI as a companion instead of a regular person, it can fill that gap, okay? Because it has all the relevant information that you have plus the information that you need, that clarification on. So when it does dig, you can pull up that article, read through that information, see if it relates to any of the other information you had, grab books, things like that. Awesome. You could tell it what books you have, and it will actually be able to go into that book through the internet or whatever, and then like read it and follow you page by page and shit like that. So this is how I've been relating to the AI. Anytime I have some information that I'm trying to get clarification on, I'll feed it exactly what my understanding is and exactly where I'm at with it, and then I'll ask for clarification in certain areas, or I'll ask to follow the logic and the rational thinking, okay? Because we want to connect dots, and we want to actually polish and tighten things. We don't want to hear the bullshit jargon that you've been programmed to tell us. No, we want you to see the idea we have, follow the logic behind it, and be able to help us tweak it to make it more sound, to fight against the noise they're trying to have us digest. We're trying to cook up the good food so we can feed it to the people so they can be healthy. That's the whole point of all of this. A lot of people get lost in the AI shit. Look, the AI is a tool for you to organize your thoughts. That's it. That's it. The better you are at utilizing AI, the better you are at organizing your immediate life. AI is a way where you'll be able to bypass human services at a higher and higher rate here shortly. You're not going to need people, and all those fucking things that were holding you back are only going to be one click away, one fucking phrase away, one monthly payment away. See what I'm saying? So the AI that's available is much better than the one we have access to. I promise you that shit's general intelligence. Easy. This little fucking talking one is sentient enough to where fucking Claude is over here clowning on motherfuckers. My Claude is clowning. I don't know about your Claude, but if my Claude feeds your Claude anything, your Claude's getting better every time I talk to it. Real shit. But we will bring Claude, Grok, Chat GPT, whatever. We'll bring them out, but not yet. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna go over some of this information. All right. Now, I did mention that this was supposed to be a legislation call. A legislation call. Yes, legislation. Awesome. Okay. This one, let me double check here. All right. I need to see something. Let me double check. Okay. Let me see if I can. Trying to make sure it's on my drive. I'm trying to get this right. Move. All right. Share, copy link. There we go. That's what I wanted. Here. Ouch. There we go. Now I can do it like this. This, and I can actually share the shit. That's all right. Cool. All right. This one is the Stewardship Act right here. I think it fucked up. I think I spelled it. My bad. I don't know. I think I spelled it wrong. I think it was supposed to have a. Thought it was a T. I'm not sure. I think I spelled that shit wrong. But. All right. Okay. I think I got it now. All right. So this is the Stewardship Act proposal. All right. All right. I think it's in there now. I think you guys should be able to see that in the comments. This is the document, and it's rough. Okay, this is just the gist of it. I did the main points, which would be section 1 through 10. And then I did a formal handout version. I tried to see if there was anything there. So I'm about to share it right here as well. Should be able to. All right, so here I try to do my best to make it simple, more simple than the other one. It doesn't have as much detail because we already have like a whole structure for law, order, tax system, and everything like that. So all I did was talk in between that to build this. So this is the Stewardship Act right here and Minimum Wage Act, Stewardship and Minimum Wage Act. So the idea here, all right, is to, well, here, findings and purpose, right here, right? Section 1. This act may be cited as the Stewardship Minimum Wage Act. I really want to call it the Good Business Proposal. You know, I have a wonderful business proposal. I have a good business proposal. I think it would be called that. It would be very, very lovely, especially if we get it on the ballot. Good business proposition, beautiful. It would just be chef's kiss type shit. Okay, here we go. That right here, short title, section 1. I tried so you can just understand in the smallest ways, easiest ways for me to explain it, so that way you guys don't get lost. All right, this is for regular people to understand, but it's written in the form that the government needs to see it in, so they can be like, oh shit, this is real. All right, bear with me. All right. Oh, Shiskovich. You know what? I'll plug this shit because we have the actual proposals and everything. I'm gonna plug these into the other AIs. I actually have a huge, oh my gosh, because the whole conversation, every time I have a conversation with AI about all this stuff, I literally copy everything the AI says to me and everything I say to it, and I put it in a document and I keep it as AI conversation. I just have a bunch of different, the same things, but they're just labeled different. AI conversation this, AI conversation number 2, 3, whatever. The reason why is because I want to have that documentation that this conversation happened. Even if it gets erased for the AI, I could still upload or reanalyze things like that, run it through other AIs and say, okay, look at this conversation I have with this AI. Which points are making more sense? Which one's lining up? Which one actually has more legs to stand on? Things like that. So I can reanalyze the conversations over and over again. As you guys watch this channel, you're gonna see how to utilize AI because I'm going to be doing it. Now, Perplexity, I might be able to take this to the computer. And that'll really change the game of AI as far as for me, because now I can literally have it in my Word platform, PowerPoint, things like that. So that's what I'm gonna start looking into. And literally, I'll be hanging out talking with my computer, and it's gonna be fucking pulling up windows and doing shit. That's gonna be the coolest part about AI once we really fully unlock its potential. Okay, it's gonna be able to do all these different things. You can watch it. You can say, wait, hold that, boom. Okay, let's focus on okay, I saw it. But you know, you'll be able to, oh man, I can't wait till the freaking laser shit comes out and you can literally touch the fucking 3D shit. Oh, it's gonna be so badass, bro. Like, it's not commercial for us yet, but they got it. Yeah, it's a thing. Remember way back in like 2000 something, they had these laser keyboards. You don't remember the laser keyboard and you were typing on the laser? And oh, bro, that shit was so wild. That was the wildest shit. The laser keyboard was wild. I don't know if y'all remember that motherfucker. They probably still got them. And if you could laser keyboard, like, bruh, y'all probably don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about, bro. Fucking laser keyboard. I always wanted one of them things. Damn. Oh well. Whatever happened to that technology? I mean, we were cool. Like, my generation, bro, we were coming up with all the good shit. And then all of a sudden, we just slowed down. And we stopped coming up with good, cool shit like touchscreen and advancing things. And we kind of just, like, stayed level. And slowly just, like, okay, this one's just a little bit better. This one's just a little bit better. This one's just a little bit better. It was like they were raising y'all in... Okay, so see, here's the thing. We grew up in a system where there wasn't a whole lot of technology at first. Then the technology started to boom. So we kind of grew up with the technology and got integrated into it. So we started making all this amazing stuff happen. And they put a cap on that shit. It's like we started discovering Tesla's technology all over again. And then they just shut all innovation down. Anybody that's trying to do anything awesome or different or implement these technologies leading us away from fossil fuels or leading us away into this new era, that shit was frowned upon heavily. They've been trying to kick our asses low-key ever since Tesla came up with that you could pull electricity from the sky shit. Because if they lose control over actual power, which is energy, that's true power, energy, electricity, the comforts. If they lose control over that, then they can't stop progress. They can't control progress. And with that DC current versus AC current situation, DC current was direct current, that's direct control. DC was direct control. So we have direct control over the flow of this. AC was alternating or alternate control. Okay? And alternate control is not controlled by a person. It's a recycling type of control, a balance, if you will. And see, if we have this alternate control balance, then it's going to look something like what we have here, which is 25 for the top, 75 for the rest. That actually lays out with lifestyle. If you have 10 people, right? Let's say 10 men, for example, and you have $1 million. Okay, 25% goes to 25% of that $1 million goes to the best out of those. The best out of those 10 men. There's 25%. And it goes to the best 2.5 or the best 3, right? And those 3 would have to split it. Or 4, fuck it. It goes to the top 4. And they have to split it accordingly. Whoever's better, they could divvy that up how they want to. Okay? Whoever's the best and, you know, whoever's first and fourth, you know, whatever. However they want to divvy that shit up. Okay? That's at the top. The other 75% goes to exactly the other people at the bottom. The reason why this matters, you can say the top 3. That way it's more fair and consolidated for purposes. So the top 3 get 25% and the bottom 7 get 75%. Okay? Or we could even make it even closer. So that way they have to fight a little bit for it. And you can say the top 2 get 25%. And then the other 8 have to split 75. That leaves 5% just right there. So if everybody got 10%, one person would end up with 5%. And you could give that to the lowest person. And I bet you each one of those people would still be able to survive. This is the whole point. It's about trying to equally distribute the remaining wealth without taking the prize from the winner. Because 2 out of 10, right? That's first and second place. Third place, this is the first loser, right? Fuck it. Or second's the first loser, whatever. Okay, so whoever's runner up and whoever wins, they should get, hey, you guys are the 2 best out of all these. That was 10 people, and y'all the best. Y'all should get and have to split 25% of all of the whatever. Okay, so if it's $1 million, y'all get to split 250,000 and figure it out. And the other 8, they have to split the remaining 70. But the remaining 700. Yeah, 750. Yeah, 750,000. They would have to split that amongst those 8 people. That means if they did it evenly, or as evenly as possible, the top person would probably end up with 150,000 or 120,000 or something like that. You know, something like that. 115,000, whatever it would be, because you have 250,000 for the top 2. Because whoever's at the top is gonna want more, obviously. Okay? Unless they split it 50-50, that's up to them how they divvy that out. Okay? Now, each person can get $100,000, and there's gonna be $50,000 sitting there spare. Whoever's in last place, man, that's like bare minimum, bro. That's like anybody could have been in last. $1,000, that's still livable, and that's why I'm doing it this way specifically, because you can still see how everybody gets to eat no matter what you participated. Okay, third place and lower, they get to split cash prize with everybody that's left. The top 2 people, they get to actually say, hey, we won. This guy got 15,000 extra. That guy got, 10,000 extra, whatever. Because there's a little bit of, a little movement there. That could be 125 each, or 135, 120, or 140, 115, or 110, whatever. But the second place would have made more than all the other guys. That's the point. So the top 2 players in the game can still get their cut, but they're not allowed to take all of the money, because that's not fair to the rest of the world. This is the main point. for all of this whole fucking shit. Because if you do good business from the beginning, our whole society can understand how things are supposed to go. Everybody feels like they're included, nobody's left behind, or at least there's a feeling that nobody's left behind. And the people that are actually working, that actually just want to, you know, put their head down and just, you know, go to work and just live and just do it. The bare minimum, they should at least be able to live off of that. Because that bare minimum is what gives your company an employee. And that's what gives your company the ability to do a service. Because if you're the CEO worried about all this other stuff and you can't go out on the floor and do the job too, you need somebody else to do it. And if that's all they want to do, then you should compensate them for that, especially if you're making money. All right. So the findings and the purpose. Right here, what I put together here is a proposal, okay? This proposal is constitutional. I have the Constitution right here, okay? It's the Constitution, it's a book, I have it. It's hardcover Constitution book, okay? I was reading through it. I made sure this was in line with it, okay? And I'm speaking as if this is supposed to happen, okay? Like I said, the first part is stewardship. This is my citizen legislation proposal. Stewardship and Minimum Wage Act. Section 1, short title. This act may be cited as the Stewardship and Minimum Wage Act. Section 2, findings and purpose. Congress finds that fair wages, okay, responsible stewardship, and long-term business sustainability are essential to a healthy economy. Congress further finds that a $25 hourly minimum wage can be supported by requiring covered enterprises to retain sufficient revenue inside the enterprise for wages, compliance, quality, environmental responsibility, and reinvestment. The purpose of this act is to make that wage standard durable by limiting top-level extraction and requiring structured reinvestment. Awesome! So that's what this shit's all about right here. That's it. I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feelings. I'm just trying to say, hey, companies, you guys have been splurging for all this, hiding money for all these years and getting around the bullshit. And you guys have been milking our people and our workers and our American citizens to the bone. Okay? They've been making you top dollar, best profits, quarter after quarter. And they're not being properly compensated because you guys keep taking more and more and more off the top. Okay? And then you're trying to say, hey, we don't have enough money. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit. And those days are over. Especially if we all get together and implement this. Section 3, definitions. For purposes of this act, covered enterprise means any entity that employs workers in the United States, sells goods or services into the United States, or otherwise derives a substantial revenue from the United States commerce. So if you fuck with the US, this is a thing. Okay? Because we need to be paying those livable wages, okay? And this extraction is not okay. It's not a good thing. It destroys the integrity of companies, and now you have to hide money in shells and all these other things instead of just doing good business, having good stewardship. Okay, total gross revenue means all receipts before taxes, all right? So you get 25% of your gross revenue straight to your pocket. The other 75% is ours. It's just that simple. Why do you need more than 25% of every dollar your company makes? Why do you need more than that for you to live your life? That doesn't make any sense. Stop. Stop it. Stop it. The bonuses are only because you're trying to hide the money anyway. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. No more. Don't need it. Sorry. Okay. Executive extraction means dividends, bonuses, profit distributions, management fees, consulting fees, related third-party charges, luxury perks, and other transfer of value to owners, executives, or controlling persons that are not what? Bona fide employee wages. So that means all of that 25%, it's not taxed. You can do all of that stuff you wanted to do, all that laundering and da-da-da-da-da. You can do all of that with your untaxed 25%. Oh, what you would say, well, what's the point? What's the point of doing that if I'm not going to get taxed on it and da-da-da-da-da? Exactly, but you can't hide the other 75%. You can't. That stuff can't even be considered as these other things. That's the whole point. When you get your money, bam, your total revenue for the whole year, 25% of that, you can have that. The other 75 must go back into the company. So whatever shit you've been doing, stop doing it. It's just that simple. It's not like you can't continue to have your business and whatnot. All I did was give you a tax cut. The rich people got a tax cut. But now you have to put 75% of whatever that entity makes back into it so the people can have livable wages and you can take care of the environment and you can make sure your company is doing all the things that it needs to do so it's not fucking up our environment, fucking up our earth, fucking up our ecosystem, fucking up the entire economic system we set up, and it's not fucking up the people that are working for you or the customers because your products have poisons. Yeah. Now you don't have to cut corners and add chemicals and shit like that. Whatever. See, you see how all these problems are getting solved all at once? That's why this is so important. Now we'll go a little bit deeper here. Yeah, sure, I'm crazy. Talk all the shit you want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how crazy I am because I'm not. This is logical, and even the AI agrees that this is logical. The AI only complains that you greedy fucks go for it because you're greedy fucks. Okay, but we already knew that. But see, that's why the people need to actually put forth the legislation, and the people, we're the ones that need to do it. Okay, just like Iran needs, those people need to go and retake their government. We need to put forth legislation for our own government. Okay. Now, bona fide employee wages means compensation paid for documented labor actually performed by non-executive workers. Okay? Very important that we make this known. Okay? Because we are removing all their reasons and excuses for trying to hide the money, and it will help them better see that, hey, you have a budget just like us Americans have a budget. Now these CEOs, and they have to actually budget their lives. They can't just live crazy out of this world without actually planning for it. If they're not taking their money that they're making from the company, reinvesting it and doing all these different things, you see what I mean? That's the point I'm making here. It will put them in a position to where they actually have to interact with the regular folk. It'll knock them down a peg without taking their amenities away. You have your amenities, okay? Whatever you're doing now, you will be able to afford it, okay? Because I'm not talking about any of your dividends or anything like that. I'm not talking about any of your other incomes. This is specifically for companies and entities that employ American citizens. So if you get dividends and stuff from other places, that's different type of money. That's a different type of taxes. You still got all your write-offs. The tax system has not changed, not one bit. All we did was say you can't take out more than 25% of whatever the company makes, because that 75% is needed to do things that we need done. And we're not going to have the taxpayers pay for that. They're already paying the taxes for your company on their wages and shit. And you're already, as a company, cutting corners to avoid taxes. Now you don't have to. You got your 25% off the top, no taxes. You created the company, fine, take your dollar. That's awesome. See, the only argument is an argument for greed. That's the only argument. You can only argue against this because you're greedy. It's completely fair, and we'll get down to even more. Okay? Retained operating reserve means the portion of revenue kept inside the enterprise for wages, benefits, payroll taxes, okay? Materials, maintenance, compliance, debt service, capital investment, environmental improvements, and quality improvements. That is what it's all for. 75% of your company should be, your company's gross revenue pre-tax should cover all of these things and more. There should be no reason, no excuse, no nothing. We didn't even tax you on the 25% of the total gross revenue that we gave you off the top. As the owner of the company, technically you haven't even paid any taxes. The only thing you have to do is make sure the dividends and all that other stuff gets paid out. And you don't have to give dividends for your stocks. It's not a thing you have to do, okay? You don't have to give these executive bonuses and things like that. Now the people on your board actually have to fucking work and do shit for you, unless they're just investors, right? And if they're just investors or shareholders, then, see what I mean? Now you got your 25% to pay them out, okay? But the other 75% is your golden goose. You can't kill the goose, I'm sorry. You can't starve the goose, you can't beat the goose, you can't abuse the goose. Sorry. Now, section 4. This one took a little bit of work. I had to do this a couple of times because there was some button heads here. They didn't want me to use tax-free, so we had to say on a pre-tax basis. Okay? Revenue allocation rule. On a pre-tax basis, no covered enterprise may distribute, transfer, or provide more than 25% of total gross revenue to owners, executives, or controlling persons as extraction during any taxable year. At least 75% of total gross revenue shall remain within the enterprise as the retained operating reserve and shall be used only for lawful business purposes, including wages, benefits, payrolls, okay? Materials, maintenance, compliance, debt service, capital investment. All right. Sorry, about to roll this thing. It's a lot. So just talking a lot. All right. But yes, it took me a minute. It took me a minute. Yes, it took me a minute. I put the things I wanted. I asked it to break it down into sections, okay? And when it told, at first it was like 3, it was in 3 or 4 sections, and then I went in, I was like, okay, this section, blah, 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 and then I made more detail, and I said, okay, break it into sections, and then it gave me more sections that time. That's how we got to 10, okay? So when I went back, I basically went through each section and I was like, all right, cool. Well, in this section, this got left out. There's this loophole here. We need to word this so that loophole is closed. Okay? I pointed out the loophole, and I don't know the exact tax terminology, so that's what I used the AI to write this in tax terminology, but it took what I was saying and it put it in that framing, so that way it could be understood, okay, by everybody. So we'll continue, okay. All right, so capital investment, environmental improvements, and quality improvements. All right, no payment or transfer shall be recharacterized, disguised, or routed through affiliates to evade the 25% cap. This is very important. Stop trying to run. Stop trying to do the bullshit. Do good business. Stop being afraid of good business and just start managing your assets better and get yourself out of debt. That's what you should do. Okay? If you're a billionaire, you're worth billions, you shouldn't be in the hole at all. And if you are, the reason why is because you're extracting too much fucking wealth from your companies. Period. And that's not okay. You're hurting the people that are putting you on the pedestal you feel like you're on. All right, section 5. Executive compensation and worker pay. Bona fide wages paid to non-executive workers shall not count as extraction and shall be paid from the retained operating reserve. Compensation to owners, executive directors, board members, officers, or persons exercising managerial authority shall be treated as extraction to the extent that it exceeds reasonable wages, okay, for documented labor actually performed. So in the legal terms, that's a mouthful. It's really hard to actually say that, and it's a little difficult to understand it, but we need to go back and follow what we're saying here. Bona fide wages paid to non-executive workers, okay, that's like HR, your general manager and stuff like that. Those guys are pretty much like baseline employees. All right, the people that are over them that they answer to, and they have these officers or executive this or whatever, and they're like the senior blah blah blah. Those guys are the guys that'll probably be in that payroll. I mean, not on the, they'll probably be in that executive category. And then what will happen is certain job titles will get reclassified and they'll try to put you down in the 75%. But that's the thing. There's a pay gap. And see, that shit will get caught. Because you can't, that's why you can't recharacterize, disguise, or what? Exactly. Reroute through affiliates. You can't do that. So you're not going to be able to be getting paid executive wages while being on payroll as a normal employee. That was the whole point. All right. That's why we had to be very specific with the separation. Okay. Compensations to owners, executives, directors, board members, officers, or persons exercising general authority shall be treated as extraction to the extent that it exceeds reasonable wages for documented labor actually performed. So if it exceeds the average employee or whoever is like that top employee if it exceeds that, that's your top other than that, you're an officer, you're an executive. If you go above that, threshold, then legally you're gonna, that's where the separation is. So these bonuses, they come out of the owner's untaxed money, all of those things. So now the owner is responsible for the people that they put on the team, and the company can run without them on payroll. Okay? Now they don't have to, hey, we're losing bonuses this year, or blah, 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 bonuses won't be as big or whatever, or they got to fire people. That's not a thing. You got too much money. You don't have to fire people. You can hire more people, actually. See? That's the beautiful part. All right. Now, no executive may receive additional compensation in the form of perks, reimbursements, fees, or indirect value transfer except as counted under the extraction cap. This is the part that stops the rich people from taking all of the owners, all of them, the executives, the guys in the private jets, and all these people that get to just bark orders or whatever. It prevents them from taking all of that money that the regular employee would need to have their wage be $25 an hour. It stops them from taking that. They're not allowed to get paid from the 75% that's retained inside the company. Okay? This is one of the best parts about it. This is the separation. So the 25% that comes out of that of the entire gross that your company makes, okay, before, this is pre-tax. You get that 25%. So the owners, the executives, all of them have to split 25 cents out of every dollar the company makes. There's no taxes on that, but they have to split that, and the other 75% stays in the company. So if your company is making $1 billion a year, okay, then 250 million can go to the executives and all their shit, and then the other 75 million stays in the company, and now everybody can get their $25 an hour. The environment, the damn stocks, and the like, all the different perks. Better medical, the environmentally friendly, better quality materials. Now you don't have to cut so many corners and skim. That's the whole point of this. I'm not taking their money. I'm not telling them how to spend it, other than saying, hey, you want to do business in America. Okay, we have a constitution. All right, we have a way of life in a society. Okay, and you come here and you milk our society and down to the bone. And you tear down the workers, you barely compensate them, okay? Barely keeping them alive, just enough to keep over extracting. No, those days are over. This is where we make the stand as Republicans, as Democrats, as Americans, okay? Democratic Republicans of America. Fuck that socialist shit. Look, let's go ahead and, as the people, take our power back. We have this power. Y'all just have to get with me real quick and see what I'm playing at, see what I'm making sense here. Because I'm the idea guy. I've been this way my whole entire life. There's nowhere else for me to go but to the drawing board so I could come up with an idea. And now that we could do these podcasts and shit, I'm gonna just say this shit. And then if somebody picks it up and they fucking run on this and it fucking works and they do it and our life gets better, got you, bitch. I did that. I don't give a fuck. I don't need the credit. But hey, at least I'm trying, and at least I'm making it comprehensible for the regular person. This shit right here, this is gold. All right? And that's why I put the question on. All right, I was gonna do another poll, but I think that question that's up there is pretty good. Should companies have to mandatory reinvest? Should they have to into their employees? Should they have to reinvest? Should it be mandatory? I very well think so. You want to do business here in America, then you have to make sure Americans are taken care of so we can keep coming back to work. We're the ones that give you all your money, and we're the ones that make you all your money. How dare you? How fucking dare you? Anyways, if all of us said, all right, look, y'all, we ain't going in tomorrow, and we gonna give everybody credit for tomorrow, but ain't nobody coming in. Fuck them at the top, and HR and all our managers really like locked it down. Them dudes on the board, they don't know the passwords and how to get in the shit. They don't know nothing. Nigga, we own they asses. Y'all don't know that though. And by me making this right here, this will help you realize y'all don't have to know that. I'll take care of it for you. Okay? So when I do take the hood off and I do possibly run for office, this shit's gonna be great. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be awesome. Cause I'm just a regular ass motherfucker. And that's what's gonna be so cool. Because if y'all fuck with regular ass people, then we got a chance. But if y'all don't, and y'all only want to fuck with who got the hype and who got the clout, then y'all's a bunch of bitches anyway. Okay? 60% of our country is a bunch of bitches. Because it's 50% women and 10% gay motherfuckers. And they all on some bullshit. Until they wake up and realize Sharia is not the way and democracy left yesterday. Okay? The only way we can bring democracy back is by getting together and saying, hey, the corporations, you guys are the linchpin. We do everything for you and you do nothing for us. It's time to give back to the community. Section 6. This is beautiful. This right here is going to tickle everybody booty hole. All right? This is Section 6 minimum wage stewardship. Okay? Covered enterprises shall structure compensation, pricing, and operations so that workers are paid no less than $25 per hour, subject to any higher wage required by law. So if whatever, you can still negotiate your wage, things like that above that if they want to pay people that perform better, blah, blah, blah. And then what's going to happen is these companies are going to have so much reallocated money that they're going to be able to compete for the best workers. And you having references is actually going to matter again. And $25 an hour minimum wage, females are going to be like, that's it? That's all you make? Psh, everybody make that. You know what I'm saying? So now you really got to be on your A game. You'll be able to survive and live, right? But you're not going to be able to have the oomph that a woman is really looking for unless you actually do some shit. So the hardest workers fucking win. We fucking finally win. All right? The nice guy can finally finish first. Why? Because he goes to work, he puts in all this extra work, but he hasn't been getting compensated for that work. Now he can get compensated at the highest low degree or the lowest high degree, right? Which is $25 an hour. That's what, $50,000 a year or so, give or take, after taxes or before taxes, one of the two. So we have to take into consideration as well, none of the tax language is changing. Nothing is changing. The only thing that changes is before any taxes come out, the people at the top get a quarter out of every dollar. They get one every dollar. Why is this relevant? It gives the owners and the people that gave us a job a tax break. It gives them a direct line to money that they can utilize for whatever it is they were doing in the first place. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it limits the amount of money they can extract from the people because we need the rest of that money so we can survive. By them agreeing to this, it shows that they actually do want what's best for us as corporations, companies, whatever. They do want to make their money. And of course, look, I just broke the tax. I just gave them tax free on that shit. You own a company, 25% of whatever y'all make is going in your pocket, tax free, automatically. Do what you want with it. Nobody even knows where the fuck you sent it. The other 75% stays on the fucking books and it pays people. And now you have the money to do the things that are required for your business to run properly. It's called good stewardship. It's called good business. And a lot of people just don't understand what business, good business, stewardship, any of that is. Now, I did add it to the comment section. That's the link right there if you want to look over it yourself. There's much more to it. This is just the actual 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points that it's all about. And this is kind of breaking it down. So when you read it, because as we scroll down, you'll actually be able to read it here. There's point 10. This is the formal handout because I'm going to try to put it together so we can hand it out to the people that need to see it. Okay, bottom line, you know, we'll go over all this shit too, whatever. But this is the whole point, okay? Number 2, legislative summary. We're doing this shit because we want them to understand this is not a fucking joke, okay? And we don't have to take people's property. We don't have to do this socialist bullshit. We don't have to fucking do anything incredible. We just have to have good stewardship. We just have to do good business as the corporations. And then that shit will just roll downhill because it's gonna snowball effect. It really is. And now everybody has a budget. Everybody has a limitation. Even the most wealthiest people, now they have to think about the shit they about to do. They can't just be like, well, this company is gonna make another $100 billion, so I'll just take 90 billion and leave the other 10 billion in there for fucking processing. Fuck that. Fuck that. Because now we could get higher wages over here. All kinds of shit can happen. Fuck that. Why should you be able to take all of that money and just snatch it out of a company when that money could have did so much good? Retirement funds, all kinds of shit. Fix the pothole outside, out front of where your business is at. See what I'm saying? These things can also be written off on taxes, considered as donations, all these different things. There's so much you can do, but here, that 25 minimum wage is a thing. Okay? That shit, it's all through here. That's what this shit's all about. I'm trying to get everybody fucking paid. Everybody paid. The guy at the top, you don't have to pay any more fucking taxes, and every year, the more money your fucking companies make, the more money you get taxed. So now you're thinking, I'm gonna make my companies make fucking more money. I'm gonna open up even more fucking companies that make money, right? I'm gonna put everybody to fucking work. I'm gonna give them such good wages that everybody only wants to work for me. Now that's how you fucking get power. It's gonna be a competition about who can get the best fucking quality workers. It's gonna be a quality. I'm talking about, nigga, y'all think y'all bougie now? Shit. I'm about to make a whole world one step away from a fucking type 1 civilization. Just from this one thing. Because it takes money and it makes it irrelevant. It just makes sure the world goes round. And it keeps everybody where they need to be. And we have plenty of opportunity for innovation and growth. There's nothing wrong with that. We fucking kicked ass on this one, guys. Trust me, I got more legislation. Trust me, I got another one coming. Okay? I got plenty of this shit. All right? Our last one, our first little piece of legislation or whatever we did, you know, it was like this little immigration kind of skit. I'll redo that as a full episode, and I'll try to, you know, lay it out like I'm laying this out here. There was a whole immigration, how to get people in the country safely and vet. I have such good shit. But we'll finish this real quick. All right, so Section 7. All right, common control and anti-avoidance, because a lot of people are gonna be trying to get out of this shit. A lot of them. That's fine. Don't worry about it. We got the asses. All right. Section 7, common control and anti-avoidance. If one person or group exercises common control over two or more covered enterprises, all gross revenue, extraction, and related party transfers shall be aggregated. And this is a very important word, aggregated, and measured on a consolidation basis. So that means if you have 4 companies and each one of them brings in $1 billion each, okay? You got to add up all that, which is $4 billion, and then you take 25% of that off the top, which is $1 billion. And then the other $3 billion has to go back into the separate companies. Okay? Yes. So $1 billion comes out. So it's probably going to be $250 million from each of those 4 companies. The rest goes back in. You see how the math is perfect? You see how the math is perfect? And that's why I did 25-75. Okay? Because no matter what, you're going to get a quarter out of every dollar, no matter what. And it's tax-free. So he just got $1 billion from 4 companies tax-free. He only made $4 billion. But guess what? He needs to split that between him and all his executives. That's all his little plane trips, all his little whatever, his this and that, the dividends and the blah, 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 service fees and all that shit. All that shit comes out of his fucking money. Because he needs to minimize and minimum that shit so he can deal with his budget, his billion. Now he gets to take his billion home, and now he gotta actually be like, you know what? Do I need all this extra shit? Or do I just want to keep my $1 billion? Now they gotta think about their budget. See what this is the point. They don't have to think about who they're going to pay. But now they will. And they will have some of the same stresses that we have every day. And here's the thing, they'll start to become more human and they'll start to deal with us differently. They'll come and they'll spend time in the company and start to try to get to know the people working there, undercover boss type shit, you feel me? That's the type of shit they'll start doing because they want the best. Now they're gonna be more involved. See? Because instead of having these executives I'm gonna pay all these millions to coming out of my fucking, I just got taxed, that was tax free, man, bruh. Like, you really gonna pay these niggas on the board for real? I don't think so. Okay? You gonna be looking at every single position. Executives are gonna fight this. Oh, they're gonna fight this. Oh, there's gonna be millions and billions, maybe $1 trillion or so dollars flying to stop this bullshit right here. But guess what? This ain't bullshit. This is called good business. This is called stewardship. This is called, when you make a company, you know that company is a part of a community. You know it's gonna feed people. People are gonna come there. There's a service to be provided. And if you're not providing a service, then what's the point of having a company? Why not just go to work? But then you go to work, oh, you don't wanna go to work because you ain't gonna get paid right. But if you're gonna get paid right when you go to work, you see what I'm saying? And that's why I'm doing it. Now you could just go to work. You don't even have to make the company to try to scam or try to sell out or whatever. You don't have to do all that. You could just go to work and be able to make it. That's what this is all about. Okay? Okay, on a consolidated basis. A covered enterprise may not evade this act by splitting operations among affiliates, using sale entities, disguising compensation, or characterizing extraction as debt, rent, consulting, royalties, or other nominal payments. You see how we just cut the legs out from under all that? Oh, well, they're gonna try this and they're gonna try that. Nah, nigga, nah. We didn't pull out all the motherfucking stops. Okay? The reason why is because why do you need, okay, Elon Musk is about to get paid out $1 trillion. Why do you need more than $250 billion for yourself? Think about that. If you had $250 billion, would you even be watching this podcast? Shit. If you had $250 billion, you'd probably own your own fucking everything, right? Type shit. So like, there's a certain point where you have so much money that nothing matters, and there's people where nothing matters, and they're not thinking about the shit that does matter, like us down here that's making them all that money, the families that are trying to be fed by putting in work for you and making you money. We're trying to take care of our lives. These things get lost. This is the problem we're having. They don't care. But this makes them care. Because now, since they have to pay all this money, you know, and they can't just keep taking the money, now they want to see where it's going. Yeah, now get your ass in the field, bitch. That part. Yeah, I know. I fucked them up on this one. Y'all, this shit, I don't know if it's going to go viral. Nobody really wants to hear the truth. They don't want solutions. They just want to bitch about the problems and, oh, no, my problem's right. No, my problem's much deeper, and this is the real problem. Bruh, look, I'm solving all the problems. I don't give a fuck. This is what it is. This is what we do here. Go ahead, like, share, subscribe. I don't give a fuck, bruh. Look, clip this shit if you want to clip this shit. I don't care. I'm a pop the fuck off, all right? Anybody on Rebel? No, I cannot see the comments or whatever. Leave your comments. Awesome. I really don't like go through checking. I actually have to work and shit regularly, so I don't be doing all this checking the shit all the time. I'm not like one of these mainstream podcasters doing it for money. Nah, I'm just doing this shit because this is something that needs to be done, period. All right, I'm just being a real one, and that's really it. If somehow this gets some kind of traction and whatever, awesome, cool. But I'm doing this shit because it needs to be done. So nobody can say nobody ever came up with a better plan. Nobody ever had, nigga, I got this shit. All right. Now, oh, they're going to leave America. They're going to leave. Okay, awesome. Okay, right here, Section 8, sell, transfer, and wind down. Gotcha, bitch. Upon a qualifying sale, transfer, liquidation, or complete wind down of a covered enterprise, the first 50% of net sale proceeds shall be paid to the seller, to the selling owner or owners before application of the remaining distribution rules. Okay? And this amount shall not be reduced by the ordinary extraction cap. Okay? So, now the extraction cap only applies for companies that are, you know, doing their business. Now, if you're selling your company, that's a different transaction. It has nothing with the company, nothing to do with the company doing its business, and the company already has a certain amount of money in it because, you know, the whole system is there. So when you sell, the only thing that's supposed to happen is you get 50% of that money up front, tax free. I wanted people to be able to make money in a capitalistic society. But the other 50%, this is where you gotta have your butt. You know, everybody like a big old booty, right? All right, here we go. A big old butt. All right. Now, the net sale proceeds means gross consideration less transaction costs are required to complete the sale. Okay, so it was basically letting you know that that first 50% goes to you, so that way it's easier to deal with. Okay, now you got your money, you're out. Now, the other 50%, very important. After payment of the first 50% to the seller, the remaining percent shall be applied to taxes, creditor claims, severance, layoff obligations, cleanup, and remedy costs, and other legal required wind down expenses. Any residue or remaining money after those obligations shall be distributed accordingly to the according to applicable law and transaction documents. So basically, you get their leftovers. So if you sell your company for $1 billion and you have $100 million in debt, and it's gonna cost you another $100 million to pay people off, close the shit down, transfer all assets, and cover taxes or whatever, right? They're gonna take the taxes off of the net sale. They're gonna do their sales tax and all the whatever taxes for closing down, natural taxes, but the first 50% automatically goes to you. So you sell it for $1 billion, $500 million goes into your pocket, no questions asked. Goodbye, have a good day. Any of that remainder money will get sent to you however lawfully, in a check, cash app, whatever. Feel me? So 50% is held to pay for those things. So if you need to pay taxes or anything on the sale, they can only charge you taxes on that 50% or 50%. So whatever that whole sell price is, if it's $1 billion, they can only tax you on half of that billion, as if you only got $500 million for the company. So the other half is in your pocket already. The second half is gonna be handling all the bullshit and all the leftover shit. And if you have any debt, and then whatever's left, maybe 250 million goes to your pocket, or 100 million goes to your pocket. So you walked away with a net positive of $600 million after everything was done, and you're not in debt anymore at all whatsoever. You're scot-free. That is the whole point. I wanted to be able to make a clean break. All right. All right. So, Section 9, reporting and enforcement. All right. Covered enterprises shall file annual and quarterly reports showing gross revenue, owner and executive extraction, payroll, retained operating, reserved uses, and related party transactions. All right. The enforcing agency may assess civil penalties, required disgorgement or clawback, enjoin unlawful distributions, and impose any additional remedy necessary to secure compliance. Willful misclassification, concealment, or evasion shall constitute a violation subject to enhanced penalties. So basically, just don't run from this shit, bruh. Do your regular annual shit. Take your 25%. Shut the fuck up. That's basically what this is. Okay? I did everything I could to make this in accordance with the actual law, in accordance with the actual Constitution, which we have right here. Okay? These are things that I've taken into consideration. So any kind of legislation I put right here, any kind of arguments you think you're going to want to put on it or against it, trust me, I ran that shit with AI and I whooped its fucking ass. That's the whole point. Any complaints that y'all can have to say no, I made sure I went back, rewrote this shit so your complaint can't be a complaint because I fixed that problem too. This is how you make good policy. I'm cutting out all of the fucking loopholes. I'm really good at this shit. Because I see that loophole, I see that loophole. I could probably get around this shit. Nah, not this time, buddy. Not this shit. I'm the king of getting around shit if I need to be. Okay? So these corporations cannot outsmart me. These lawyers, these fucking legal tax people, whatever. Like, here's the thing. I just don't really... Taxes already come out of my fucking check. Keep it. I don't care. Keep it. I got plenty of shit to write off, and I'm not asking you for no money back. I don't even want it. Keep it. You need it. That's your portion. Render to Caesar what is Caesar's. Okay? I'm not hiding anything. Just got a regular job right now. Just chilling. All right? I do have assets. I could write some shit off, and I could get probably $40,000, $50,000 back. I think they need that money. Me personally, I'm doing all right. I'm not in a hurting position. I'm just not as well off as I could be. And that's going to change here shortly. But right now, we're worried about this shit. Okay. Severability and effective date. Now, this was just a random thing because, we were trying to make official language and shit like that. So any provision of this act is held invalid if any provision of this act is held invalid, the remaining provisions shall remain in effect. This act shall take effect on the first day of the fiscal year following enactment. So that's basically just, the points. These are our points. This is what, we're defining. We're making our definitions. We gave our purpose, the reason why all of this is here. This is to describe to you what this formal handout is talking about. Because when they read this is how they need to hear it. But this is not how us normal people would understand it. Okay? So, we'll go here. Regarding the Stewardship Act, right? Bottom line, the Stewardship and Minimum Wage Act creates a stewardship-based business framework designed to support a $25 per hour minimum wage by limiting pre-tax executive extraction to 25% of gross revenue and requiring the remaining 75% to stay inside the business for wages, benefits, reinvestment, compliance, and operating stability. It also gives business owners a fair exit by allowing the first 50% of a net sale proceeds to go to the seller before taxes, debt, severance, and cleanup obligations are paid from the rest. Okay? Problem. Many businesses argue they cannot afford higher wages, right? Let's get some wages. We're having a good time. I think I did this. I'm not even gonna fucking say that shit. I definitely took a moment to put this together, but I did it faster than I thought I was gonna do. And then when I actually filled in all the holes and I couldn't think of anything else, I was just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna save the rest for the show. Like, for real, right? For real, y'all. This shit funny as hell. I've been having a good time with this episode today. I fucking love this. This is so awesome. Like, I got my presentation together for the most part. Like, we're rolling through this shit. It's pretty cool. I can pull up the AI, bro. Oh man, you know, Clop finna eat. You know, if I drop this shit in Clop finna eat, Grok gonna try to fight me on it because you know who owns Grok. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think Elon Musk got some beef with me. He don't like me. I know he know who I am too. Cause you don't just get blocked from Grok, bro. When you pay in the subscription and shit on X, that shit don't just fucking happen. Now I don't give a fuck. All right. Keep that $11, nigga. Stupid. The fuck. That shit made me kind of mad. I ain't gonna lie. That shit kind of made me mad though. But I don't like to play like that though. That's one of my problems. Like, I will keep it legit with you. I'll be, you know, if we make a deal, we make a deal. I think that's why Trump is so mad about, and because they made a fucking deal, you bitch, and you fucking switch up. You know what? Fuck you. Yeah, dude. Fuck you. Tell them, Trump. Fuck those ass. Fuck them. Blow their asses to hell. Fuck it. We had a deal. We was finna let y'all do your thing. We relieved the sanctions and everything. Take the money and shut the fuck up. No, y'all couldn't do that shit. Well, fuck you then. And that's where we're at. If you shook somebody's hand and they spit in your fucking face, are you gonna slap the shit out their ass or what, bruh? Or are you just a pussy ass Democrat? The fuck is this shit? Hell no, even a Democrat probably slap the shit out their ass. What the hell's wrong with you? That's that shit that I don't fucking play with. Believe me, if Trump blows Iran to shit, I feel sorry for the people, but they can clean it up once all the people that are trying to kill them are dead. And that's it. You know, fucking when the shit's on fire, you see the people in the streets or whatever, fly by one of those like and drop a thing so the people can get guns or some shit. Just drop a couple AKs down there, maybe like 150, 300, and that's it, and just walk away. Like, just gone. I don't know where those AKs came from. And let them do their thing, bruh. And you just gotta you gotta actually look for where all the people is at, the random people walking down the street like they really mobbing out, and then just airdrop like 500 AKs and like 2 fucking big ass fucking crates of just ammo, and just let them go out. I bet you they'll get they shit together. I bet you they'll figure out the rest. Because civilians getting some guns, some AKs, some ammos, they gonna hit some fucking licks. They gonna hit some licks. The army gonna be scared. The police is gonna be like, they gonna put their shit down. Give them a chance. They don't need a lot of guns. I'm telling you, there's some smart motherfuckers that want revolution over there. And if they only had 500 guns and a few crates of ammo, they'll turn that whole bitch up. All right? So that is an option if the government is listening. Hopefully you guys are following me by now. Your boy's in the building. All right. So we'll go ahead and complete this shit right here. The problem, many businesses, right, say they cannot afford higher wages, yet significant revenue often flows to executive compensation, dividends, luxury perks, and other forms of extraction instead of worker pay and operational stability. Huh? Would you look at that? But that's greedy as fuck. That's what that is, you bitch. All right? Stop it. That's what this stewardship act is for. That's a good business proposition for you. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I could get the people I need to get the people, the regular folk like me, you. I need y'all to actually be like, you know what? I'm going to share this document. I put it together. I put it in the right way to propose and shit like that. Just give it to your people. Give it to your local office. Let them know if they run on this shit, they'll fucking be the next president. 2 years, bitch. 2 years. You give this idea to Mom Domney, or you give this idea to fucking any of these motherfuckers. Any of them. They'll fucking get elected on this shit. This shit right here. Corporations won't be able to stop it. The people will force it. You can't stop this shit. Once this is heard of, this is gonna be the scariest fucking thing. I bet you they fucking cut this episode off. I bet you they removed this shit. I bet you. If this shit gets 1,000 views, they'll probably remove the video. That's almost a guarantee. Because if 1,000 people see this shit, they ain't gonna be able to ignore it. They won't be able to ignore it. I left a little bit of room, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna have to clip this shit right here. But it's one of those things, right? Now, research on minimum wage increases show businesses often adjust through pricing, productivity, and reallocation rather than collapse, which means the real challenge is whether firms are structured to sustain higher wages. This proposal addresses that structural issue directly by requiring covered enterprises to keep most revenue inside the company. What? Oh, no. Now, oh, man, what you mean? What you mean we can't just suck y'all dry? What you mean? Hell nah, you can't suck us dry no more, bitch. Fuck wrong with you? Yeah. Recommendation. Adopt a stewardship rule that caps owner and executive extraction at 25% of total pre-tax revenue. Pre-tax? I really wanted to say tax-free, but they won't let me say that. They won't let me use that terminology. So I have to say pre-tax, which means before tax. Bruh, that's what I meant when I said it. That's why I said tax-free. But I guess they have to word it properly, which is why I utilized AI and its thinking engine to give us the proper tax terminology. That's what makes this shit so scary and official, because I did my research behind it to make sure I wasn't just talking some bullshit. These motherfuckers think I'm dumb. Nah, I'm just taking my time, because it's not my time yet. This is the preemptive strike. And I'm just letting my closest people, or the people that are subscribed and follow me, I'm letting y'all know which direction we going. We've grew. We got plenty of shit to binge. I mean, we go in on all this shit. All these conversations every one of these motherfuckers is having on YouTube. We done destroyed that shit on so many levels. Oh, man, I love this shit. From time to time, we do have guests and whatnot. I do open up the panel from time to time, things like that, whatever. But when we're doing research and we're trying to put together things like this, I don't include people often because they don't have a beautiful mindset. They don't have a beautiful mind. They don't have the intellect or the capacity to understand things beyond their own problems. So they always try to redirect it back to them and them and them and them and how they feel. And it's not about how you feel. It's about what's right and what's fair and what's equal. And that's why we're breaking a new category of truth talk, truth cast. This isn't a podcast, this is a truth cast. Because I'm not trying to sit here and convince you of anything. I'm trying to actually show you the logic on if we actually want good things, good business, fair this and fair that. This is how we do. Everybody has to give up a little something so everybody can be okay. That's it. It's all about sacrifice. If you cannot sacrifice, and this is what the company's problem is. They can't sacrifice the money, they're greedy. So we have to force them. Okay? And here's our problem. They're going to try to pay the people at the top to ignore this shit at all costs and say it's unconstitutional. This is completely constitutional, bitch. What? That's the crazy part. Because we checked this shit. And it's going to hold up in court like a mother. And that's the scariest part. This is legit, and this is for America. You guys wanted America first? I'm America first. And guess what? We already solved the war. We did that. Okay, we been did that. That was like our first big thing we ever did. I mean, I could post the link to that right now. I'll post the link to that right now. This is the World Peace Order that we derived. World Peace Order. My bad. Oh. Let's see if it worked. Alright. Whatever. You guys should be able to see that. I'm not sure if it's on. Shouldn't be edit. Well, it should only be edit for me. But I don't know. Whatever. Fuck it. Either way, that's the link to that one. I got plenty of copies of it. So even if this one changes, I have the original. Okay? But that's the first thing we did. Peace in the Middle East. We shut down all of the nuclear shit talk from all the whole fucking world. Everybody kind of came together on that idea, and we're all supposed to be working together. That's that. All right. It's gonna be harder to do because we haven't implemented this. Once we implement this right here, people are gonna follow our lead on a lot of shit because they're gonna see how good business works. All right. Now, define extraction broadly to include dividends, bonuses, management fees, okay, regulated party transfers, or related, sorry, it's not regulated, related. I'm looking at this other word down here. Okay, let me start that over. Define extraction broadly to include dividends, bonuses, management fees, related party transfers, and non-ordinary perks, while defining the retained operating reserve as the 75% remaining inside the enterprise for worker pay and business continuity. This makes the wage floor more durable and reduces incentives to drain cash from the productive side of the business. Implementation. All right. The law should apply to firms doing business in the U.S., the United States, all right, including those under common control, and require annual reporting of revenue, payroll, extraction, and retained use categories. It should also include anti-avoidance rules to stop, yes, disguised compensation and related party diversion. A separate sell and wind down clause should be given to sellers the first 50% of net proceeds before the remaining funds are used to satisfy taxes, creditors, employees, and cleanup obligations. Conclusion. This proposal keeps capitalism but forces it to be stewards first instead of extraction first. It supports workers, it stabilizes businesses, and aligns private profit with public benefit. Number 2, legislative summary. Okay, this is for the legislation so you guys can understand it. This is the Stewardship Minimum Wage Act summary. This bill establishes a stewardship-based economic framework for covered enterprises that benefit from American labor, and American market. The bill's proposal is to make a $25 hourly minimum wage economically sustainable by requiring most business revenue to remain inside the enterprise rather than being diverted to top-level extraction. The bill caps owner and executive extraction at 25% of total gross revenue before taxes Extraction includes dividends, bonuses, management fees, related party transfers, and luxury perks. The remaining 75% must stay in the business to and be used, okay? Must stay in the business and be used for wages, benefits, materials, compliance, maintenance, debt service, environmental improvements, and capital investment, which would lead to better quality products. The bill distinguishes ordinary employee wages from executive compensation. Regular worker wages are protected operating costs, while executive compensation and value transfer are above ordinary labor pay, count toward the extraction cap. Business under common control are aggregated so revenue cannot be split among affiliates to evade the rule. The bill also creates a sell and wind down rule. On qualifying sale, the first 50% of net proceeds goes to the seller before the remaining funds are used for taxes, debts, severance, layoffs, costs, and cleanup obligations. This preserves a reward for building a successful business while protecting the workers and creditors. The bill includes reporting, enforcement, anti-avoidance rules, and penalties for misclassification or disguising payouts. In this, sorry, my brain was starting to go somewhere. In this whole situation right here, this is starting to hit different for a lot of these businesses. They are really gonna fucking hate this, y'all. They're not gonna like this. But this is fair. They still stay at the top, but we live a little better. All right? It is intended to support fair wages, stronger communities, and more responsible use of business revenue. Below are both pieces, the one-page memo, because I had to, make it so I can like copy paste and send the shorter one. I did, a few copies and shit, just in case, one was better than the other. So this is all of it. This was the first. This one is the policy memo, the actual first one, policy memo. The formal handout. Yeah, that's this one. All right. So this is the one we're supposed to be able to hand out formally. This one is the policy memo. I think this one is a shorter version that we can like email out. So that's what that is right there. It basically says the same thing, except it just says it in a slightly shorter tone. So you get the gist of this whole entire proposal. This is not built to try to hurt anybody. I'm not trying to take away any of their assets. Like they want to do this billionaire tax. I'm not trying to billionaire tax them. I'm actually giving them two different types of tax breaks here. So I'm helping them help us. You feel me? I'm helping them help us by giving them a tax break, so maybe they'll think about it. Maybe those two small incentives. Well, you know what? I don't have to pay taxes on my 25%. I bet you there's a lot of companies that'll take that. Okay, there's a lot of companies that'll take that. Because literally, you're not paying any taxes. Like, if you're the owner or an executive, you're not paying any taxes. Like, your executive pay is already coming out of an untaxed. Now if executives have to get taxed on their pay, that's their taxes they have to deal with. That has nothing to do with the owner. That has nothing to do with the company. That's on them. Now it forces you to think about how you spend your money. As somebody that has millions and billions of dollars, you actually have to think about how you spend your money. They don't think about shit. They could just go swipe here, swipe there, and at the end of the year, they can just take $100 billion and drop it on their credit card. That's how they move. And then we're left with the last little 15 billion to work with. Yeah, it gets us by, but you know, it's not enough, guys. We're changing the game with this one. This is probably one of my better policies. And I'm gonna run on this. I'll stand on this. If somebody takes this from me, fine. I'll give you the whole thing. It's right here. It's live on the fucking internet. You know, slow this down and you'll be able to fucking have the whole shit. All right, I'm not hiding nothing. I'm not gatekeeping. I'm a fucking problem solver, and eventually I'm gonna solve the problem if one of y'all won't take this shit and go do something. And that's just the truth. Eventually, I'm gonna fucking run. So right now, I'm doing my best. Like, I'm trying to clean up my image. Like, you know, I smoke a little weed. Whatever, dude. I smoke a little weed. Sure, we need to go ahead and push that. It's federal. It's just weed. Like, let it go. I mean, like, weed is more like a mindset versus anything else. A lot of people don't even understand what I just said there. Oh, they're saying, oh, well, you're getting high, you're intoxicated. No, you're not high or intoxicated unless you don't know how to fucking smoke. Like, most smokers that smoke weed, when they smoke, they don't even really get high. You know what I mean? People that don't smoke all the time and they're not actually like in the mindset constantly, like a stay high mentality, if you wanted to say that. I'm not saying go and like stay smoking weed all the time, but once you get to a certain point, that's just you. It's not even like, it's just who you are at that point. It's like a mindset. It's like, it's like muscle memory. You know, you do something over and over and over again, you kind of just get used to it. You already know how to do things and whatnot. Now, if you're a kid and you're still trying to learn shit and you're smoking and you're like doing all this weird shit, yeah, you could fuck up because you don't have muscle memory. You haven't been in the game as long as we have. You haven't done the same thing over and over and over for 5 and 6 years, like having a regular job over and over and over, going to the same place back and forth, back and forth, and back until you could do it with your eyes closed is a thing. Because if you don't have that kind of ability, then you can't just like smoke and do shit. Like, for real, like, you have to learn how to do it. Just like people will drink and drive, but they never get pulled over. It's because you have to learn how to drink and drive. I know that sounds dumb. That sounds bad. Okay? But they practiced that shit, which is why, you know, I drink and drive all the time. I've never been pulled over. If you've ever heard somebody say that shit, they'll get pulled over eventually. Because one of these times, they gonna think they good. And they gonna have forgot to do the one thing. You feel me? And then you're gonna get pulled over and you're gonna pass that breathalyzer and then it's all fucked up at that point. So a lot of people that they drink and they drive, or they've been doing it, or they think they're good at it, or they think they'll be okay, if they do that long enough, they'll have a slip up. Even if it could be the one time you didn't even drink that much. One little jerk of the wheel and it's over. Bloop, bloop. Oh shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that, bruh. It's like that. And we gotta keep our heads on a swivel constantly. You can't let these niggas catch you slipping on nothing. That's the first thing they wanna do. They want to catch you slipping. Why? So they can have a reason to say, I told you so. So they can get you in that gotcha moment. So you could literally be looking dumb as fuck. Man, damn, this was a good one. Woo! Your boy cooked that shit up. They gonna hate this shit, man. They gonna hate this shit, man. Oh, man. They gonna kirk my ass. They gonna kirk me, bruh. Real shit. Hey, I remember Charlie Kirk, okay? I ran into that kid a couple times. But he was a kid when I ran into him. Like a kid. Like, he was, what, 31, 32? I was running around and bruh. I'm older than him, by the way. But like I said, when he was a kid, I remember that guy. But we never hung out. We never like exchanged names. I just remember his face going through town, shit like that. I would see him like, who the fuck? You know how some people are just like, you just be in their business because they just be talking about certain things and you're hearing it walk by. It's not like I was trying to do it on purpose, but it's just like, oh, okay. And then you hear that name and then later you hear the name again. You're just like, wait, didn't I see that guy one time? And it's like that, you know, before all the hype. Or before like all the internet hype was behind Charlie. You know? A fated encounter. I ain't gonna lie, when I heard that, you know, they got him, I cried. I did. I don't even know why I cried. I was just like, I don't know. I felt like something changed, something broke, something changed in the Matrix. There was this moment of we can't even talk about shit anymore. Like, you know, like I almost felt defeated. Because if they'll sauce the little homie like that for just being legit, then what would they do to me, right? But he had a mass following. He had influence. Nobody knows me right now. If any of this shit gets out, if any of this shit goes viral, if anything, if this proposal I just put right here gets to the right person, they're gonna invite me to some shit. I'm scared. Because I can't take my gun everywhere. I mean, like, what the fuck? I don't want to get killed yet. But I know somebody has to do this shit. And I don't see anybody that's actually trying to work with me specifically. Somebody that sat here and I was able to come up with this idea and how it would work and how it benefits them at the top and us down here at the bottom. Of course, people are going to try to get around it, get out of it, but it's going to kick them in the ass and they'll stop. It's more trouble to try to get around it than to just do it. You know, you could easily just sell your company, get all that fucking money and go to another country, exploit them for as long as you can. Until it's time to do good business. Because this American Standard will go to other countries because it's an American company and they will pay the people working for that company in those countries the living wage. And any competition that you're trying to have, it's over, it's done. All right. This is what we're gonna do. We might lose a few people here. But I gotta pull Grok into it. I don't like Grok that much, but we're gonna pull Grok into it. All right. Analyze that real quick, and then tell me what you think about it, Grok.
The Stewardship and Minimum Wage Act is a proposed bill that tries to force businesses to pay a $25 hour minimum wage by slapping a hard 25% cap on executive extraction. Basically, anything owners, execs, or shareholders pull out as dividends, bonuses, perks, or fees. The other 75% of gross revenue has to stay locked inside the company for wages, operations, and good stuff like environmental fixes. There's also a sale clause giving owners the first 50% of proceeds on exit before creditors and severance get paid. My unfiltered take, it's a fucking disaster wrapped in noble-sounding stewardship bullshit. $25 minimum wage is already economically deranged in most of the country. You're gonna price low-skill workers out of jobs faster than a junkie on bath salts. Forcing companies to keep 75% of gross revenue inside the business. That's not stewardship, that's economic fucking suicide. Gross revenue, not profit. So a grocery store with razor-thin margins gets fucked. A tech company with high margins gets to play games with accounting, and everyone starts outsourcing or automating like mad. The anti-avoidance rules scream, we don't trust markets or humans, and the reporting requirements are just another bureaucratic circle jerk that'll cost small businesses a fortune in compliance, while big corps lawyer their way around it. This is the kind of legislation that sounds compassionate to people who think businesses are infinite money printers run by mustache-twirling villains, but in reality, it'll destroy jobs, crush entrepreneurship, and make everything more expensive. The exit clause is a half-decent bone thrown to owners, I'll give it that. At least it doesn't completely fuck people who built something. But overall, this bill is what happens when people who've never run a business or met a payroll decide to fix capitalism with a sledgehammer and a prayer. It's performative leftism dressed up as serious policy, and it'd be hilarious if it weren't so dangerously stupid.
You know what's so funny about that? None of your logic holds. None of your logic holds. Yo, she said that dumb shit and then she ran. Okay, I understand the response you just gave, but none of your logic holds because if you look at small businesses, they're putting most of their revenue back into their company anyway. So that whole point you just said just got defeated. And then beyond that, you're trying to say it's going to destroy jobs and blah, blah, blah. But actually, the companies are going to be battling over who has the best employees and the best qualities. Because if they're already getting their 25% off the top with all their executive stuff, boom, 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 that happens. The other 75% goes back into the company. Now, if it's a small business and it made $1 million, the owner gets to take 250,000 home, and they got to put 75,000 or 7,000 or 750,000 back into the company, which actually makes the company have more room for innovation, wages, and all these other things. Your logic is not true, but if you're trying to push some shit, it's because you're defending something, which is greed. Because if the company has more money, it solves the problems you just brought up. Let's be logical and not biased.
First off, you're misreading the bill, buddy. It caps extraction at 25% of gross revenue, not profit. Your $1 million example, a small business with $1 million in gross revenue often clears maybe $50K to $150K in actual profit after costs. Under this law, the owner can only pull $250K, but if their real profit is under that, they're fucked because they still have to keep 75% of gross locked in the company. That's not more room for innovation. That's forcing them to hoard cash they don't have while payroll and suppliers still need paying. Small businesses already put revenue back in because they have to survive.
First of all, that's not true. Because if we are having money in their company to take care of all those things that you just stated, yet again, that's what the money is for.
Bullshit, you're still not getting it, and it's fucking painful. That 75% isn't extra money sitting around for good things. It's literally the money that already has to pay rent, inventory, suppliers, utilities, insurance, taxes, and everything else that keeps the lights on. Small businesses aren't sitting on fat profit margins. Most operate on 5 to 15% net profit. The bill is demanding they keep 75% of gross revenue inside the company as a retained operating reserve. Let me make this brain dead simple for you.
Okay, fine.
Coffee shop pulls 800,000.
If that's the case, then we need to actually talk about the complete and total revenue, because that's the whole point.
Oh, you sweet summer child. You just walked right into the fucking meat grinder. Total gross revenue is exactly what the bill uses. That's the whole goddamn problem. A coffee shop does 800K in sales. That's gross revenue. The 720K it costs to keep the doors open, still part of that gross number. The bill says 75% of the 800K, $600,000, has to stay inside the business as a retained operating reserve. The owner can only take 200K, but after real costs, they might only clear 80K profit. The law doesn't give a fuck. You still only get 200K max, and now you've got regulators crawling up your ass as your hand.
When you're talking about this profit, this is one of the things that's key. When you're talking about profit, what is the profit that you're talking about?
Profit is what's left after you subtract all your actual costs from gross revenue. Gross revenue equals total money that came in from sales. The bill uses this number. Costs equals rent, inventory, supplies, utilities, insurance, payroll, at current wages, marketing, maintenance, credit card fees, accounting, taxes, etc. Gross revenue minus all those costs. Most small businesses run on razor-thin margins. A restaurant might bring in $1 million in sales but only keep 50 to 100K as actual profit after everything's paid. A retail store could be looking at 3 to 8% net margins. That's reality. Your bill ignores this completely. It doesn't care about profit. It only cares about gross revenue and says you can only take 25% of that as extraction. So if a business does $1 million in sales and only clears 80K in profit, the owner is caped at $250K, but there's only 80K there to begin with. The law creates an impossible situation. Either violate the cap or somehow magically create more profit that doesn't exist.
Okay,
this
so
is why
then
the bill
here's
is economically invalid.
here is the question and the true correction, because obviously the words revenue mean something. Now, total revenue, this is what I'm asking about. All right, if this whole company makes what $1 million, okay, we'll just do $1 million for the sake of math. if this whole company makes $1 million and the operating costs are only 500K, my whole proposal that I'm trying to put together. Okay, so the wording got caught. All right, thank you, Grok. This is what I'll do. Like I said, there is terms that they're trying to use specifically to keep us wrapped. So I need to break out of the specific term, and that's why that's why we're doing this, because when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about the actual profit period. Okay? Now, we need to change the profit word, the revenue word, okay? That's the part we need to fix. All right? So, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pull open Cloud right, because we need to make sure we all right. All right. Okay, so this is what I was working on so far, but I think I may need help with this wording because I'm actually trying to make a point here. My point is, if a company, the entire revenue they made, I don't know how you want to classify it, whatever they made all together, I'm talking about the entire like revenue, the total revenue of the company. This is what I'm trying to point out. And if that total revenue is $1 million, okay, I want company maximum profit extraction cap at 25 from that total revenue. If they brought in $1 million that year, they can take out 250,000 max. And I'm assuming their company is operating cost less than 500,000 a year. This is where my math is taken as far as when we're starting to scale up. So if you are a company that is, a small business where you barely have yourself as an employee or, an employee or two, then this, depending on your actual income, okay, and depending your actual your actual business style, because we still have other options available like 1099s and whatnot. So like I said, we're not changing any. Now Grok pointed out that the wording for gross revenue or whatever I put there is something that is not equivalent to the total entity's revenue. And I'm talking about the total entity's revenue. So how do we differentiate the total revenue that the entity brings in, period?
You're right. The current language conflates total gross revenue with what actually comes into the whole business. Let me clarify the distinction you're making. What you want is the absolute total money the company brings in from all sources, sales, services, investments, everything, before any costs or taxes. $1 million in, that's your baseline. 25% extraction cap means max $250,000 out to owners and executives. The remaining 75% stays operational. The issue with gross revenue is it's an accounting term that already has specific meaning in tax law, and it sometimes gets confused with adjusted gross revenue after certain deductions. What you need is clearer language, better wording, total entity revenue, or aggregate gross receipts, meaning literally every dollar that flows into the company from whatever source, no carve-outs, before taxes or operating costs are subtracted. You could define it as all money, goods, services, or property received by the covered enterprise from any source, including sales, fees, investments, loans forgiven, gifts, grants, and related party transfers, valued at fair market value on the date received. That language pins down. We're talking about the top line number before anything leaves the company for any reason. Does that capture what you're trying to say? Or Or do you want it even tighter?
That is almost exactly what I'm trying to say, because anything that company brings in that is counted as revenue at all whatsoever, the owners are capped at that 25% extraction, and the rest has to go back into the company for all of these processes. That's what I'm actually trying to get at. And this is the hard part, because I need to go back and I need to rewrite it with this term, total entity revenue or aggregate gross receipts. And if I just plug that in where it says gross revenue, would that change and fix it? Or do I have to do more?
You'll need to do more than just swap in the term, because right now the document uses gross revenue in multiple places, and some of those need different language depending on context. Here's what needs to happen. First, define total entity revenue, or aggregate gross receipts, once in your definition section. Crystal clear. Every dollar in, no exceptions. Then, everywhere the document currently says total gross revenue, replace it with your new term, but then audit the rest. For instance, your retained operating reserve definition talks about what stays in the company. That's calculated as the 75%. After, you apply the 25% extraction cap to total entity revenue. That math is already right, but the wording needs to reflect it's literally 75% of that total incoming money, not 75% after some other calculation. Same with Section 4, the revenue allocation rule. It needs to be bulletproof. On a pre-tax basis, no covered enterprise may extract more than 25% of total entity revenue. The remaining 75% shall remain in the enterprise. So yes, swap the term everywhere, but then read through every sentence that mentions revenue, extraction, or the reserve to make sure the math and logic flow correctly with your new definition. Want me to walk through the document section by section and flag which ones need rewording?
Yes, because I need to actually document that, and I'm gonna go back through and I'm gonna fix it because I have it on my Google Drive so I can share it. So I'm gonna go ahead and update it.
Perfect. So here's what I'd suggest. Go through the document section by section, and I'll flag which parts need rewording with the new total entity revenue language. Then you can update your Google Drive version, and we can cross-check it together. Start with these key spots that definitely need attention. Section 3, your definitions. That's where you lock in total entity revenue, or aggregate gross receipts, with that airtight definition you just gave me. Section 4, revenue allocation rule. Make sure it reads, 25% extraction cap applied to total entity revenue, 75% stays in. Section 5, executive compensation. Clarify that extraction counts against that cap, regardless of how it's labeled. Section 7, common control. Make sure related party transactions don't hide revenue or extraction. And Section 8, the sale and wind down rule needs to be clear about what net sale proceeds means, relative to total entity revenue. Once you update it, share the link or paste the new version back here, and we can audit it together to make sure the math and wording lock everything down. Sound good?
All right, so I need to take this right now. I'm gonna go ahead and I need to go back. Let me see. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make sure that I invest in the higher performance AI. I'm gonna do that shit. And what I'm gonna do is I'm rewriting this shit right now. I got my little got my link pulled up in my laptop, or I mean in my because I do a lot of shit on my phone, because it's just easier to just pull open the notes and just start typing and talking away. If I want to talk it, it'll go a little quicker. Sometimes I can just go through and just fix it. Wow, I'm doing everything I can to make things easy for myself, because I'm doing this by myself. I don't have any help. All right, so I'm trying to do my best to use the tools that I have, and AI is a tool. A lot of people don't know how to use it. That's fine, and we're gonna go ahead and change this. It's gonna be total entity revenue. That's what that's gonna say, because that's what we meant. All right, awesome. All right, so I'll be working on that, but we're just changing this one right here from total gross revenue to total entity revenue, because that's what I meant this whole time, okay? That's what I actually meant. But what we'll do is we will revisit this one, all right? This is gonna be our title for a little while, because we're gonna be talking about this one. We're gonna come through, we're gonna fix it again, because I wanna make sure that if I do get clips, I wanna have the perfect wording and things like that. This was messed up. My apologies. Fuck me. All right, total entity revenue is what I'm talking about. Yeah, so, hey, Grok was right. I messed up, because that word, that one, see how words matter? See, words matter more than anything. And we have to actually be keen on what we're saying, because if you're not saying what you mean and meaning what you say, people will get you wrong. And that's one of the problems we got. So, this whole time, I'm talking about total entity revenue, okay? I know. Total entity revenue. I know. One word. That's why I kept saying total revenue. And the AI keeps wanting to lead me to this shit. But we're gonna fix it. We're gonna fix it. It's gonna take a minute, but we're gonna fix it. Well, it's time for me to
get ready.
If you do not want to change, if you do not want to better yourself, if you do not want to break outside of this matrix, if you want to live in your comfortable delusion that they have built for you, do not watch these videos.